Hi everybody, I'm Stacey with Stacey's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. What does that mean, you might say? What that means is that we go into the closets of your mind. And when I say we, I'm talking about you and me. There's not another team doing this. It's us. We are the team. We go into the closets of your mind and we pull out those things that no longer fit, they're outworn and outdated and no longer serve you. We put those aside, and then what is revealed are the things that you knew that you had all along, the gifts and talents, but it also makes room for more. It frees you up. But not just that, we dig underneath the bed, we pull those monsters and cobwebs out that were clouding your vision, clouding your perspectives, so that you are able to see clearly your best and highest good. So if you or anyone you know needs help with that, please feel free to look me up at staceyforlife.com. That's my webpage. And on this webpage, I write a monthly blog, which will be up in the next day or two. I'm working on it. Not right now, but I'm working on it. And also there's a description of the services that I provide as a life coach dealing with addiction, codependency, and grief, and whose lives haven't been affected by that in some way or shape or form. But also, it's more than that. It's desire for healing and healthy relationships, as well as development of spiritual and soul consciousness. So once again, if you or anyone you know need help in any of those areas, look me up, staceyforlife.com. So today our topic is going to be on reflections and projections 2020, and that we still don't even know what to think. So today is just an easy topic, and really I would like interaction from you. I request that from you. I want to know, how did 2020 affect you in your life? And then I also want to know, what did you do to get through it? And then I want to know, what are your hopes for 2021? So if if you haven't already liked and subscribed to my page, please do so now, and let's get started. So as a life coach, what we do is we do what we call tracking, which is really reflecting. So we're going to reflect back to December of 2019. December 2019, we didn't know what this year was going to be like at all, and it just seems really, really surreal, right? Is that there's been so much happen, so much going on, so much fear, anxiety, intensity on so many levels. So I would like to make this video fun, but I can't say that it was funny, the things that we went through, although I did get to see a lot of people got through this with humor. And I enjoyed watching some of the memes and cartoons that people posted. But in reality, people were losing lives and losing jobs, and that people were in fear and people were fighting. There was controversy. There was conspiracy theories. But I think what we really could take from 2020 on a personal level is consciousness. So in the questions that I ask you, I'll answer myself and kind of how I got to those. How did 2020 affect me? My first blog was on our dreams and our goals and visions and our plans, and how it affected me was that I had to stop going to meetings, which I really enjoy. I get to meet people from all over the world when I go to meetings. And then, we got the Zoom, so we could still meet people all over the world. However, doing these videos, to get quiet time during these videos is a task in itself. To watch a complete Zoom meeting without the dogs barking and people needing me from other places, I really like being able to get out with intention. Intention means a lot to me, being able to do something and being present with it. So I'm more focused when I do get to get out and go to the meetings. So I was able to get out finally and go to meetings after a period of time. So now I'm able to do that again. And I do not take it for granted. I think that the things that when I look back is our biggest lessons of 2020 was respect. Is hopefully we can learn to respect people with different viewpoints than us. We had controversies about the elections. We had controversies about the mask. We had controversies about different things that were going on, conspiracy theories, and I do believe that there's probably a little bit of truth in the conspiracy theories, but I believe that they're also like you tell a friend and they tell two friends, and how the story grows and gets into something that it wasn't even supposed to be like. And I think that it did that a great deal during 2020, that it just magnified and intensified like everything else did in 2020, our own feelings, in fact. So there was that. And I choose, though, to shift more towards consciousness. They were saying things about, the new earth and things like this. So that's more the stance that I took on it, and probably what helped me get through 2020 is that I did have dreams and goals and visions, and most of them still stayed on task and on track, and even some more so. The only things that I really didn't get to do, besides, continue to go to the meetings and meet people from all over the world, and to see some people that I hadn't seen, is that I didn't get to go to Europe. I had hoped to go to Europe, and I didn't get to do that 2020, but I'm still hoping to do that 2021. It's on my to-do list in August. So the other thing was to go to Jimmy Kimmel's show. No, that wasn't doable. No, I was going to go in July, and that wasn't doable. But what I did get to do in July, is that in decorating my own thoughts and perspectives, I got to go on a road trip with my mom. I got to see my mom more this year than I have in the other couple of years since I've been in Cancun. So the other thing is we learned respect, but we also learned not to take things for granted. I think that a lot of the things that we were accustomed to, we attached our identity to, and we got to learn to develop a different consciousness about those things. Do we really need those things or not? We weren't able to go to gyms, so if you were a person who worked at the gym and you attached your identity to the gym, or you thought that was what you had to do to stay in shape, you really got to rethink that in 2020. I was fortunate that I like to try to harmonize and stay in balance, and like everyone else, sometimes I'm in better balance. Sometimes I get on here and I'll get stuck on something and keep watching, and keep watching and get sucked in. But for the most part, what I try to do is to keep it balanced, because I get a lot of information off of the internet. I learn a whole lot from the internet, and I'm communicating, like I said, with a lot of people still yet on the internet. So the internet has some great things. But at the same time, when we talk about consciousness, I believe that being connected to the earth, I believe that a lot of that's what's gone on during this 2020 had to do with the earth. It's really like somebody let something out in another part of the world, and we all got grounded for it when we got into isolation. But what we learned during isolation was that the earth was thriving. So if we could learn to do things in moderation rather than excess, you see, because in 2019 we realized quite an excessive world that we were in. We were living in excess. And so I do hope, like I said, I hope to travel, but I think that we have to really gauge, instead of living in excess, to be more conscious about what we're doing and the reasons why we're doing it, and that it's purpose-filled and not obligations, and that when we do things, that we're really doing it with the right intention and motivation. So the third thing is with humanity, so I hope that out of those things, those are the lessons that we learned in 2020. I know for me, that's the lesson: respect, that, not to take things for granted, and humanity. Those were the things that stuck out to me the most, is just to remember to try to help each other. Because when we deal with addiction, codependency, and grief, there were more people that relapsed and OD'd during this time because of this isolation and dealing with this and not knowing how to deal with this. And then the codependency. Some of those may have been part of the suicides and such, because we had people that were totally isolated, that needed people, that were depending on people. And then we had other people that were not isolated, that were fed up to here with people. So then you also get into the grief, because a lot of people lost loved ones, not just to the pandemic, not just to the virus, but to other circumstances, whether it be ODs, whether it be, there were a lot of tragedies during this time. There was still sickness, the other sicknesses that we commonly get that are tragic in themselves as well. I know I lost a friend to one of those. I saw a friend in December and didn't get to see him this last December, or this December. I was back in Texas, but I did get to see my family more than I normally had, because, like I said, I didn't want to take them for granted. I did get to respect people, even though I'm not compromised with the illness. I kept my mask on when I would be in enclosed spaces, and I followed the rules. You know, that's one thing down here they were pretty strict about, and still strict about, is you will wear the mask. You know, that was never up for a question. So we wore the mask, and I respected that, you know, and so I even had a friend, and I know she's watching this video. Now they're talking about the vaccine. That's something that people get to be hopeful for in 2020. And she asked me, she said, so I hear there's a vaccine coming. And I said, oh yeah. And she's like, yeah. She said, are you going to take it? And I'm like, no, I'm not, but I'm glad that you get to take it, so people like you get to hang out with people like me. And, you know, we both got a chuckle out of that, because she is compromised. So she's had to stay in all this time, and I've missed her. She's gotten to celebrate some things I have not got to celebrate with her. So I'm so looking forward to getting to celebrate with her when she gets to take this. So the vaccine to me is kind of still yet that respect, because even though I don't want to take it, I don't need it, and I'll probably do things at all costs not to take it, because I don't take the flu shot. I don't do those kind of things. My daddy used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, so I'm not trying to do that. But like when I go to the store, part of being conscious is me parking away from the door. Whatever store I go to, is I'll park way away from the door. I'm not trying to wait for a spot up close, because I'm a healthy person. I can walk. I have respect for people who are compromised, or elders that can't walk. So it's just about continuing to keep that, and not that entitlement. You know, I think that 2020 had to let go of some entitlement. You know, I think that people really got to see how entitled they really felt on the other end of respect, you know. And then, like I said, taking things for granted, that, you know, it's like, I don't know if your lights have ever gone out, but if your lights have ever gone out, then you think of all the things. You want to make a pot of coffee. Oops, it's electric. Most of us have the electric coffee makers, you know. So it's like we think of all the things we want to do. Or if your car's in the shop, and you think of all the places you want to go. So I think that we realized in 2020 the things that we want to do. I myself, like I said, I want to travel. I plan to make it to Europe in 2021. My business, my business was fine, as many people's were. I have many friends that their businesses did well, and, you know, my family got to work their jobs. But I do know of people that did lose their jobs, you know, and that they're greatly affected. But, you know, I still believe that even some of them, that they were compensated in another area or another, that everything was divinely connected in some ways, weird, strange force, as miserable as it was, that it was to enlighten us for our better consciousness, to have other things unfold. All the systems broke down. I believe that we can have better schools. I think that the police can run things differently or better. We know government can run better. All this kind of stuff. It just needs to, you know, some tweaking. We have to adjust things sometimes. Transformation and transitions. You know, that's what we do, and what I do in organizing and decorating. So for my 2020, and what I've been doing is I read a lot of books. That was one of the things, you know, I asked what affected us, and then how did we keep going. I read books, and I prayed a lot. I kept learning and educating myself, and you know, meditating and visualizing and all of this. And I got to do a lot of that I wanted to do. Still yet that we're on that dreams and goals and visions when I started the year. I'm always in practice and development. That's something that was made very clear in the past couple of years, is it's practice development, you know. So I'll share with you some things. It's oftentimes when we're in consciousness that we look back at our path and see that it was in right and divine order. You know, like I quit getting my hair done 3 years ago when I moved to the jungle. I knew my fingernails and toenails myself if I want them done, you know, and these kind of things. Nobody cares how I look in the jungle, although I'm not saying I don't practice hygiene, but there's hygiene, and then there's, you know, luxury. So these are things that I already had had a difference to. I work out on my floor. I showed y'all the perfectly imperfect workout. I was already doing that. So nothing changed for me real drastically in those types of areas, in my vanity areas. So I'm still practicing developing. I wrote a blog a couple of months ago, and it was about my red leather power suit and TED Talk. So in practice and preparedness, for me to do that, and I've spoken on, different levels in different places, but we can always do better, right? So I've talked about grief some. My son had gone to culinary school, and in culinary school, he got this book. It's called The Art of Public Speaking, and it's even got his notes still in it. We know I lost my son in 2011, but he was so proud. I remember when he showed me that, told me about this. He says, "Mom, I'm taking this class, and it, teaches you tact." And he says, "I'll be able to call bullshit without people knowing, without saying it's bullshit." And stuff. And he mentioned a few other expletives, but I'm not going to say that. But he's, Anyway, the art of public speaking. So I'm doing that because if I'm going to do a TED Talk, I have done these videos for 20 minutes and I likened it to that but I can get better. So I'm reading The Art of Public Speaking. And then in my work, and in 2020, I think we could all use this book. This book is called Becoming Bulletproof. It's by a person who was a Secret Service agent, beautiful little gal called Evie Pomporis, a little Greek gal. And this book teaches you how to protect yourself, read people, influence situations, and live fearlessly. Now, you all know I've had a second degree in karate, but I believe that we all needed this and the reinforcement of it. I like it because I think it will help me in my business, because oftentimes people don't know their own truth. So when I go digging in those closets and under those beds for the truth of who you forgot that you were, this will help me. So that's cool. I connect everything, y'all. I got to see my life coach on one of my trips to Texas this past year, and she supports what I'm doing as a coach. And to reinforce me, she told me and had me order this book while I was sitting in her house. It's called The Reconnection by Dr. Eric Pearl. It's Heal Others and Heal Yourself. So we had decided that my next step up was to take Reiki and to work on healing, energy healing. So with that being said, I am taking Reiki, and I had started reading this book. And I was reading this on my trip to Texas, and I'm still reading it, but I'm almost finished with it now. And if I didn't read all these other books, I would be finished with it, but I'm the type of person who will get 5 books going at one time, and this is actually more than 5. I just received this in the last 2 weeks, so I'm not very far along in it. These are the last 2 books here that I've started on recently. Those others I've been working on a while, except for The Art of Public Speaking. But this one I just started, and I hope to be a certified Reiki teacher here, not teacher, student, a Reiki practitioner soon. And then I had somebody, I'm on different social medias, and LinkedIn, this man and I connected, and his name is Primoz Lazar, and he wrote a book called The Blueprint to Building an Online Business Office. So I'm reading his book too, and he's given me a lot of information, because while I know how to organize thoughts and decorate perspectives and coach and all of that, I'm learning a lot about business. So, that's helping me a lot. It's part of my path. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. And the other thing that's been helpful to me too, and you've seen me do it in the past couple of videos, and I'm not doing it this one as I finish this one, it was the prayer and meditation. I really did amp up my prayer and meditation and visualization. And, I know that things aren't happening to us as we might have thought at the beginning of the year when this all hit and we felt like we were getting grounded for something we didn't do, but happening through us, because it happens, and it's just one of those things. So when it starts happening through us, we start taking responsibility about what can I do once it's happening through us? What can I do to make this better? And then when we realize it's happening for us, we realize the gifts that we were able to practice and develop through this time. So I will practice and develop my prayer and meditation. They were a little wonky, they weren't at my best, because it's really a relationship that I have with me and my source, and stuff, and the thing that I do for my communication. But I just tried to expand it to you, but I'm not used to doing it through this tablet, through a screen like that. I usually do it more intimately Maybe I'll do it some more. I'll have to learn more about how to do that, just like with all these books. And you see, I'm busy right now. But in the future, it could happen. So if you enjoyed those prayers and meditations, let me know, and I'll continue to work on those too. But, and I did have a few people that tell me, and speaking of telling me, I thank you all that do reach out to me and tell me how my videos help you. That encourages me a great deal, because I'm just always hope that it's going to help at least one person. Sometimes I get lucky and it helps more than one person. So I do hope, again, that you were able to take away, some of the things, like I said, the 3 things that I pointed out that we could take away from 2020 is respect, that we can take away not taking things for granted, and also humanity. But then the questions that I pose to you, and I'm going to try to keep this fresh so you remember, is I want to know how 2020 affected you. I also want to know what you did to get through 2020. And then I want to know what your dreams and goals and visions are for 2021. So I want to thank you so much for being with me this week, and I look forward to connecting with you again next week, and it'll be based in part a lot of what you tell me through this interaction. So please interact with me. And I wish you much peace and love, and I'll see you next week. Okay. Bye. Before I go, I want to remind you that if you are struggling at this time, emotionally, mentally, whatever way, if I can help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives, I'm willing to give you 30 minutes of my time for free. I can pray and meditate. I can talk you down, talk you through, so that things don't feel so heavy on you, So again, my email, staceyrennick@gmail.com. You can find me at staceyforlife.com. You can find me on Facebook at Stacey's Organizing and Decorating for Life, or Stacey Renee on Facebook, Stacey Renee on LinkedIn, Stacey Renee on Twitter, Stacey Renee 8 on Instagram. Thanks again. Peace.